The world today seems to be shifting and drifting faster than ever before. We can see it in cultures, governments, and even countries across the world. Billy Graham, second president of the University of Northwestern, once said, "Each generation faces different issues and challenges, but our standard must always be measured by the Word of God." At Northwestern, you have my commitment that we will remain centered in the Word of God. Well, the Nazareth Circle was formed to ensure that generation upon generation of men and women are equipped with the Word of God to become leaders in business, ministry, government, nonprofits, the sciences and the arts, and education.
My name is Elena. I grew up in North Minneapolis, and I live in Fridley now, and I'm a social studies education major. I've always wanted to come to Northwestern because my grandparents and my parents came here, and I always knew I wanted to be a teacher too, so I really liked what Northwestern's education program had to offer. Throughout my whole life, there's been a lot of impossible things that God has just brought me through, and I came to the realization that college was one of those impossible things and that there was no earthly way for me to afford this. I really committed the decision to prayer, and even though to me it looked impossible to go to Northwestern, I really felt God calling me to make that decision and just put my trust in Him. About 3 weeks after, I received extra scholarships that made it completely possible for me to come, and I was totally able to afford Northwestern. I was so happy to be here because it was like my dream was coming true. In my sophomore year, during the pandemic, I was grieving the loss of both my grandparents who had passed away within just a few months of each other, and I was really struggling. I felt overburdened with the weight of costs for my car that had broken down and costs for their funerals. So I had been working overnight the day before my morning class, and I felt so tired and exhausted, and I was grieving and sad and just completely overwhelmed, and I felt like there's no way I can keep doing this. And I walked up to the door late to class at 7:50 in the morning, and the sun was rising behind me over the lake, and it was this beautiful morning, but I was so crabby and just exhausted. And I've known this chapel my whole life. My parents were married here. I had other classes in this building, so I've definitely seen this doorway before, but in this moment it was just glowing and standing out to me so much. I actually felt called, even though I was late to class, to just stop for a moment and kind of look up what was the Latin phrase that's carved into the archway of the door. So I opened my phone and I just typed in on Google the Latin, and it popped up one of the most important Bible verses to me, which is, "Come to me, all who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest." In that moment, I could see my troubles differently, because I knew that they were God's, that He was holding them for me, and I just had to work through it, and He was going to be right there supporting me through all of it. From that day forward, Northwestern's community really circled around me. The professors and staff came around me and supported me, and without their support, I don't know if I would have been able to fulfill my calling to become an educator, to graduate like I will be this spring. And I'm really looking forward to kind of being a light in the dark world that can be the life of a middle school student or a high school student, where their home life is unstable, there's things going on they don't understand, that they're not getting along with their parents or their friends, they don't really know who they are. And just being a Christian who's been there before, loving them with Christ's love, and show them the future that they can have.
Our mission at UNW is to raise up God-honoring leaders, men and women who will go out into the world and impact the next generation for the sake of the gospel. Though the world may continue to drift, we're committed to providing our future leaders a firm foundation, solidly rooted in the Word of God. Well, without the consistent support of scholarships from friends like you within the Nazareth Circle, access to a Christ-centered education that can transform their lives and the world would simply not be possible. So thank you for considering your membership in the Nazareth Circle, where together we can make a kingdom impact.